So once again, it's that time of the week, My Money Story with Expresso, where each week we sit down with somebody who's attained great success in their chosen field, and we learn more about their relationship with money, from interest earned to lessons learned. And of course, we all live this life together, so we can certainly all learn something from each other. So today we sit down with a woman who has made a very big success out of a very small hobby. Lorrain Loots started the 365 Paintings for Ants in 2013, where she challenged herself to create a new art piece every single day for a period of a year, and a project which ultimately saw her gain international recognition and a full-time career as an artist. Now, what made her work so unique? Well, most people will probably need a magnifying glass just to see the detail of each exquisite piece, and today we take that magnifying glass and we investigate her relationship with money. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Lorraine, and of course, our certified financial planner from the Wealth Room, Mr. Grant van Zyl. So as we always begin, Lorraine, it's always about your first memory of money. What is yours?
Okay, so when I was very small, probably about 5 years old, we used to go, every summer we'd go on holiday to Expresso and
place.
Camping, you know, for like 2 weeks or something. And we would get R2 pocket money every day to go and spend on whatever.
Okay.
I don't know how old that makes me look. It was very little.
Wait, was it very little or was it a lot back then?
No, it was very little.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
Inflation was still at 10%.
I don't know. And then there was this trailer, like little shop thing that sold sweets and whatever, and they had like they had this little silver ring. I think it was silver plated or whatever it was, and I really wanted this ring, so I saved up for 3 days and saved the R6 that the ring cost. And bought the ring, but it was way too big for my fingers, so I put like 3 plasters on my fingers so that I could wear the ring. And the first day that I was playing in the garden, I lost the ring.
No!
So,
No!
So I spent many days digging in the back garden trying to find the ring, but also learned that I should have maybe just spent that money on sweets and having a good time.
Who knows, maybe this ring will like appear magically one day, you know?
Yeah.
Who
It
knows?
might just
I'm
float
still
up on the
waiting.
beaches of Expresso somewhere. Okay. And so throughout your life, what have been some of the financial lessons that you have learned that have informed your opinion and your concept of money right now?
Well, the one thing that I've kind of made a habit to do, and it's kind of maybe a strange thing, maybe a simple thing, but it's just something that I like to do, is I tend to categorize money into like money that I earn that's supposed to support my daily life, and then kind of imaginary money. So back in the day, that would be like winning a competition, or you know, getting a bonus, or whatever the case may be.
Is that the imaginary money?
That's the imaginary money.
I'm liking this concept
I
of
know,
living
it's
on
weird.
imaginary money.
I like imaginary money as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to adopt it.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know, you might not agree, but so then I'll take that money and I'll put it somewhere and I'll pretend like I don't have it.
Yeah.
So the money that I'm still living on that's my money. So I still have to budget, I still have to work, I still have to, you know,
Yes.
if I have to get another job, I have to get another job. But then one day, if I want to do some weird art project or I want to go on a trip or something, the money's there and it's waiting for me, and it's money that I pretended to never have. So
That's
Sure.
Wow. That is a
bit
very
weird.
wait.
Very
So
clever.
I once heard of this guy who wanted to be a millionaire one day, so he drew up a check for $1 million, right, and stuck it to his roof so that every morning when he woke up, he would see that, and that would kind
Visualize
of
it.
visualize it.
Yeah.
So with your imaginary money, do you like start at the beginning of the month and you like say, oh well, 10 million? Well, how does it work?
no, I don't know. I mean, I think you do have to have kind of a relaxed and positive attitude towards money that makes it kind of come at you more.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. But in my daily life now, I see my paintings and prints and books and things as my salary, and then if I have a big commission for a client or something, I see that as like my imaginary money. So I put that
Unexpected
away.
imaginary
And then
money.
if I want to do a show in New York, I've got money to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't really have a gallery that's, you know.
That's going to be my hashtag for the day.
Sounds
Hashtag
like
Imaginary money.
I like it. It sounds like she's quite disciplined already.
Yeah,
And she's already diversified her portfolio a little bit.
All right, so
Sounds
when we come back for our second part, we'll find out more about what Lorraine would still like to learn from a financial point of view, and that's exactly where Grant van Zyl comes in as our certified financial planner, and he'll be giving his insights.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
So it's time for our second part of My Money Story, where we sit down with a well-known person and investigate their relationship with money. And this morning we have artist Lorrain Loots, who once bought a silver ring for 6 Rand, which she lost, and then developed something she calls imaginary money, which now pays for overseas trips. Absolutely amazing. We love it. It's a great story. I love it, Lorraine. But Lorraine, so what are some of the financial concepts that you still struggle with, or things that you wish you knew more about from a financial point of view?
So the one thing that I do wonder about quite a lot, we've just bought our first house and renovated and everything, which is the dream, you know. I mean, we're still paying the bond, which is the next problem that I'm having. But I work from home, I distribute from home, and we've just had a baby. So the house is already a little bit too small for us. So I'm thinking, you know, in 5 years' time, we're going to need something a little bit bigger. Do we pay the bond first, or do we take that money and buy a big old fixer-upper now already, or do we put the money in shares? What do we do to be sure that we can actually afford a house in Cape Town?
That is a great question, Grant.
Sure, it's a loaded one, eh?
It
It's so
is.
early in the morning. Holy God.
So many
So I think like your art, I mean, in order to achieve a good painting, there's a process, right?
Yeah.
But in that process, there's a time frame, a realistic time frame. So if your art takes you a day to do and I ask you to do it within half an hour, the chances of that piece coming out as good as it would be if you took the whole day are very unlikely, right? So it's the same when it comes to finances and when it comes to buying property. What a lot of people do is they put unexpected or unrealistic time frames on these sort of purchases. So buying a bigger property is going to be one of the biggest investments that you're ever going to make in your life. So you don't want to go and put all your hard-earned money into this investment at the wrong possible time. So just as like developing good art has a process, so does buying the next property and your financial strategy and that sort of stuff. So the first starting point in this process, I would say, I don't know your starting point with art, but with this, I would say look at your budget, look at what your financial cash flow is, and let's use a practical example. Let's say you've got 10,000 Rand spare on a month. Okay. You can take that 10,000 Rand and that's going to give you about R1 million bond. Okay, so we're going to just keep it simple. But let's say your house that you're wanting to buy is 1.5 million Rand. So there's a shortfall of 500,000 Rand. So we now have a goal. The goal is to create an extra 500,000 Rand. So now we can work backwards. We can go back to your budget, so there's one or two things. So the first thing is you can either paint more, create more money, which is not that much in your control, right? And also you're a new mom, so you might not want to do that. So the second thing that's more in your control is how do I spend less and save more? If you're going to save 5,000 Rand a month towards your 500,000 Rand, it might take you 5 years. But if you can only put 2,000 Rand in on a monthly basis, then it's going to take you 10 years. So what you're doing then is you're creating a realistic expectation and saying, you know what, I'm very disciplined with this. I'm very observant that it's going to take hard work and effort, but now you've got a strategy. Instead of like waking up every morning and having these fears like, oh, what about, how am I going to make this happen, you know? So what we're doing is we come up with the answer, create steps working backwards to kind of create a solution going forward. So I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Spending less is important.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, just going back to the budget that we've always been speaking about.
Going back to the budget. And also, just to add this in, remember a home is a lifestyle asset. And remember the different assets you get is a business asset, it generates your income. An investment asset is going to generate your income. A lifestyle asset is something that's going to grow, but not necessarily create an income. So you don't want to go take a big portion of your wealth and put it into that. So you need to also be careful with the stage of life that you're in to go take all your hard-earned money into an asset that's only going to grow at 5% and inflation's 6% at the moment, for example. Because then what you're doing is you're actually going backwards. So all this hard work that you're doing with your painting and that is actually deteriorating, not going forward. So if you do that properly, and on our blog, we've got a whole bunch of articles that you can read on how to make property work for you, because you can, but you just need to be patient and have that realistic time frame. So instead of in 3 years' time, it might happen in 10 years, but you're going to do it properly, you know?
All right. Grant, thank you very much for the insights, and Lorraine, thank you for sharing your money story with us. It's certainly been very entertaining, insightful, and very imaginable, shall I say. I wonder if that imaginary money can pay for an imaginary car.
Hashtag imaginary money.
All right, there we have it. Lorraine Loots also bringing the concept of imaginary money. Love that. Well, you won't actually need imaginary money in the future if you keep up with the Expresso Savings Challenge. Because I know, okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we asked viewers to get hold of a chessboard and then start by saving 10 cents on the first block. And then every week you double it. So there's 20 cents, and today we're up to 80 cents. All right, and then we'll double it to obviously R1.60 afterwards. So at the end of the day, you'll have a pretty significant amount of money. What do you think?
Well, can you explain that to me? Because if we're going from 80 to R1.60, okay, does that mean you're going to spend less on eating or, smoking or like how do you double it? Is it realistically if you double it, or do you have to start at 80 cents? Can you start, or at 10 cents? Can you start at
I think for the purpose of the challenge, to show that you can accumulate quite a bit of money from just starting by 10 cents. It's an example as to how much you can.
And then you obviously you earn compound interest on that, and
pretty much. Look at you, smarty pants. Yeah, I love that.
It's my skirt. It's
sorry,
not my pants.
Smarty skirts. I'm sorry. Love it. Give it a go, guys, and see, because it could just help you out. It's like nice little spending money at the end of the day. So yeah, give it a go. Our Expresso Chessboard Challenge. Lots more coming up on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.